Happy July 30th, 2020. My name is Christopher Saunders, and this is the Connecticut Sports Talent Show, where we talk all things talents in Connecticut. And on today's show, we have an NVL product himself as far as the high school, and now he's coaching. He's the offensive coordinator for the Waterbury Career Academy Spartans, who came off their best season in program history at 7-3. His name, Trey Weaver. Trey, great to have you on, man.
Hey, man, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. I think there's so much to kind of digest because you've done a lot as far as the high school, college, coaching,
hmm
and the whole nine. We'll break it down piece by piece and get as much as we can done in 20 minutes or so. I'm sure we'll go over that just a tad.
Just to hear.
Yeah, just by a hair. But first off, let's talk about Holy Cross. Kind of just take me into that because Holy Cross has been known for having a lot of talent going back to when you were there and even when I was in high school. So just first
hmm
off, just unwrap that for me a little bit.
Holy Cross. I actually went there following my cousin's footsteps. Really, Taquan Zimmer. He went there. I used to go to the basketball games there. So Holy Cross was like in the family. Yeah, I can't say a little bit. So I wanted to go there. As I got there, once I got there as a freshman, I loved it. The minute I walked through the door, not so much buying the books and stuff for that matter, but the school I loved. Coaches, I loved. I actually went there. I wanted to play basketball more than anything, and then I went on my freshman year and I wanted to play football. So my junior year is when I really like decided that football was like for me. Is when I made that jump. I quit basketball my senior year and I just literally focused on football. And I loved every minute of it playing for Holy Cross. Coaches are still there. I love them to death still, and I miss it dearly.
Is there anything that Coach Gianpetrucci and the staff, or if there's anyone else I didn't name, that kind of really helped your development as a football player?
Um, Got to give credit to Matt Smalley, the offensive coordinator there. He really like had faith in me my senior year. He do whatever it take to get me the ball, put me in the right positions. I can ask him anything. He'll coach me up on whatever I need to be coached up. I worked with him the most because I was on the offensive side more than anything. So he really helped me develop.
In the time that I've been able to broadcast in the NVL and being able to do football now for, I think, going on my fourth year, I've seen a lot of wide receiver talent come out of Holy Cross. You think about DeAndre Wallace, Quan Brown. I mean, there's even some players now who maybe don't have the same level as far as name, but they have
hmm
talent. And then you think about yourself. Do you ever kind of think like you're amongst the top as far as I mentioned, DeAndre Wallace and so on?
hmm I mean, I think I would say so. Saying I was an MVP for my senior year, I think I would say so. I would like to think so. That it's not for me to answer, but I would like to think so.
Yeah, because again, going back to the offensive potential, Holy Cross has always had a lot of offensive pieces. The names are
hmm
always there. They're always amongst one of the top in Waterbury and kind of show the NVO itself. Like, while there might be some other schools that kind of maybe on a down year, Holy
Yeah.
Cross typically is not.
hmm Yeah, I don't know. I give credit to those guys over there. The staff hasn't changed much from when I've been here. So that just credit to the staff over there. They put in hard work every day in and day out. They don't let the kids slack off. They never let me slack off when I was there. So I can only imagine how hard they're going now. Even going against them this year, I 0-2. I can't get them. So like I said, a lot of credit to those guys over there.
You mentioned about how you gave up playing basketball later in your high school career.
hmm
Is that when did you realize that football was going to be potentially something that you could have after high school? When did you feel like you popped?
Um, I want to say at the end of my junior season is when I really like wanted to mainly focus on football. That's when I really got in the weight room and really started working in the off season. That was that time. And then after senior year, when I had like kind of a breakout year again, um, that was when I was like, all right, I can play at the next level.
Was it your own decision to stop playing basketball, or was it somebody like you mentioned, a family member? Was it
hmm
maybe your parents? Was it anybody who kind of gave you that extra motive to stop playing basketball and focus on football more?
Nah, to believe it or not, it was just my decision. I was walking in the hallway one time and I didn't show up to the first two tryouts. And Coach Generali see me. He goes, "Hey, you're not coming to tryouts?" I was like, "Nah, I'm not gonna play this year. I'm gonna focus on football." So it's just my own decision.
Interesting. I mean, that's great to hear that, you focused on yourself and it was your decision and it wasn't pushed
hmm
because a lot of times with young athletes, you'll have some, I mean, being an offensive coordinator and hearing people amongst the parents, they like to be in their kids' lives, which is
They do.
great. But sometimes there needs to be that distance. And for your
Yeah,
parents and family members to respect your decision, because I'm sure some said, no, Trey, you got to keep playing basketball. I mean, you ball,
exactly.
man. I really do respect that,
Hmm.
you
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
Now, what was the recruitment like as far as the colleges? Because I'm sure that there was a number that were looking at you. Was there
Hmm.
ever a point where that affected your play at Holy Cross?
Not really. I was a late bloomer. I call myself. So my senior year, like I said, was really my breakout year. So
Mhm.
I started getting looks later on after that season. Um, when I was in high school, I was on the smaller side. I was only weighing in about 130 pounds, 135 pounds, but I was super fast. So I was really just running away from everybody, so to say. So I didn't get many looks from big schools. I did have Central. I had Southern, and I had a lot of D3 schools. So that's how that went.
And one of the schools in particular, Maria College, you decided to go to.
Hmm.
Why did you choose that college?
Well, I went up on a visit. It was a small campus. The campus didn't really wow me, but the coaching staff did. Um, I was number one on their board at the time. I went in there, I seen it. I was the first on their board. They really wanted me there. I was gonna have the opportunity to play right away and play all 4 years as a starter at receiver. So that kind of jumped out at me as well. Um, I wanted to go there and try to change their program. They didn't really have a winning program at the time, and they're still building up. I wanted to go down there and try to make a change, be a difference.
Coach Mulrooney, I had an opportunity. I don't know if you saw the interview, but I talked with him a couple weeks ago, and he really has an eye for, being able to get the right stuff amongst people, players, staff, etc. And it
Hmm.
just feels like that he has the building blocks. And because of COVID and not being able to play this season, maybe things kind of pause. But it just seems like Emory College is going in the right direction, even if the wins are not there just yet under Coach Mulrooney.
I believe it, man. I love Coach Mooney to death, and what he's doing, I support 100%. I've just always just loved what he did from the time he stepped on campus. I entered the transfer portal, sort of they call it now, when the coach I had left, and then I heard Dan was coming in, and then I was like, okay, I'm not going anywhere. This is where I'm going to stay. I'm going to stick it out for my last year. That's how much faith I had in him.
And see, I didn't know that you entered the quote unquote transfer portal, because
Hmm.
that's something where athletes will do that because they want to try to explore their options.
Hmm.
But with Mulrooney being a Holy Cross guy and somebody who in some ways can make a connection with you, did that kind of ease things as far as being able to stay at the school?
That's funny you say that because that's exactly what it was. Him coming from this hometown, my hometown, playing at the high school that I played at, that was it for me. So I'm gonna stay here, and I'm gonna see what he has coming in. I knew he was gonna bring in a good staff. He was already at WPI, which I had knew about, and he was doing a great job over there. So I decided to give him a chance for my last year of college football.
It's great that you stay, because 3 out of the 4 years, I think you would say were good. There was one that
Hmm.
was a little iffy, which we'll get to in just a moment. But I have
Hmm.
a question as far as you talk about how in high school you were skinny, but you were just really, really fast.
Hmm.
When you got to the college level, obviously it's a little bit different. You're facing men, you're facing a little bit different of a game. You're not
Hmm.
facing the lower tier teams as far as what you would in the NVL. So the
Yeah.
question I have for you, was there any adjustment as far as going from high school to college? Was it the route running? Was it the tree branch, or the tree that they call it for wide
Hmm.
receivers? What was it?
Well, big difference is speed. There's linemen that's just as fast as some slot receivers, and all you guys going to college, you'll find that out really fast. Route running is big. That's one of the biggest things I learned. You can get open by just running good routes. You don't have to be super fast. If you run a crisp, good route, you can get open. So I had to sharpen up my route running as soon as I went there. Knowledge, knowing coverages, and all that. That's stuff you have to learn right away. um, Stance and start. Every little thing in college makes a difference when you're playing a position like receiver. Every little thing makes a difference. So I had to touch up all those little techniques once I got there. It took me a little while to do. I didn't do it right away. My freshman year, I did not do it right away. I still had stuff I needed to adjust. So my mid sophomore year, junior year is when I started putting everything together.
I was just about to ask that, and I'm glad that you answered it for me about when you put it together, because a lot of times for some guys it takes a season, sometimes it takes 2 seasons, sometimes it takes 3 games. in order for things to click. But
Hmm.
do you think because it took you maybe a little bit more time, it made you more appreciative of the fact that all the hard work that you were putting in was showing on the field?
It did. It did. It like hard work pays off. I know everybody says it, but when you actually put in hard work and you can see it making a difference on the field, it's a great feeling. It feels the same as just scoring a touchdown. It's a great feeling.
And working hard, I mean, it's something that it's one thing to say, it's another thing to do it. And I'm
Hmm.
sure you busted your butt your junior year, but the numbers dropped from your sophomore to junior year. The yards dropped, the touchdowns dropped, even the receptions dropped.
Hmm.
What happened in that year, if you can speak about it? Because was it an injury? Was it a change in coaching philosophy, offense?
Hmm.
What was it?
Um, I would say a change in coaching philosophy as well as some personnel issues. Um, People don't know this, but I never had a true quarterback when I was in college. It was always somebody who's just an athlete who can throw the ball. So I never had a true quarterback until my senior year.
So how? Because obviously at Holy Cross, you had quarterbacks, correct?
Yeah,
When
I
you were
had
playing.
quarterback. Hmm.
So how, and forget the next question. I want to ask this.
Hmm.
How was that not having a quarterback? Because I would think for you, because very rarely are you on a team where the only true weapon is the wide receiver. At
Hmm.
least you have a running back or a quarterback or something. How
Yeah.
was that for you going into each and every game? Like, I'm going to be the number one target. They're going to look at
Hmm.
me and me only.
Well, it was tough, especially my senior year. It was tough. I can't count how many times I came out and I seen double coverage. I seen one man and it's clouded over another. Seen it multiple times. There's times I got a play called for just me, and I'm on one side and they come out and there's two guys over there. Now we're like, what we're gonna do? So it was tough. It was something that we worked through. It was something that we also game planned for. So we planned to have me taken out of the game, and somebody else is gonna have to step up. That's something we plan for week in and week out.
Well, they couldn't stop you your senior year because 51 receptions, 911 yards, 12 touchdowns. I mean, whatever they were doing, those are like Big 12 numbers. Lincoln
Hmm.
Riley would be very happy with those numbers.
Hmm.
But, the receptions, were they all passing? Because I almost feel like some of them were on some jet sweeps, some tosses, bubble screens. Am I wrong?
Hmm. Um, I wasn't a big screen guy. I
Really?
really wasn't.
Oh,
I caught a few screens. I took a few jet sweeps here and there. But what they wanted to do, they limited me on getting hits. So I didn't really take handoffs like that. I was really most of my receptions are passes that I had caught.
wow. See, that's fantastic. I mean, I thought because a lot of times, you see in the NFL and in college where on
Hmm.
a jet sweep or on a simple little toss, it counts as a reception. I don't know
Yep.
how,
Hmm.
but I mean that's after games. Were you gassed because you were probably catching what in 10 games? Do the math. That's like almost 10, 11 receptions a game.
Yeah, I was. There was times I got to lay on the floor in the middle of the bus because my legs are cramping. I can't sit in the seat. After games, I work gas. Usually when we got a long bus ride, I'm sleep. As soon as I get something to eat in my system and hydrate, I'm knocked out until we get back to school.
And you had a great career at Holy Cross. You had a great career at Anna Marie College, and I really do feel like you left your imprint on both those schools. But now you're at another school, at Waterbury Career Academy, as the offensive coordinator. Before we get into your time, being there, what led you to the Spartans?
So let's say second semester of my senior year, before maybe a couple weeks before I was about to graduate, um, I'm just like, let me try and get into coaching. I took a few coaching classes in at Anna Maria, just because, and then I kind of to like fall into. Let me see how I can do as a coach. So I had reached out to Coach Flamia and told him, hey, I'll be a volunteer. Like I just want to come out and see how it is. So he's like, okay, come out as a volunteer. So mid-summer position opened up as a paid coach. He called me over the summer. He wanted me to take the position. So I took it as just a receivers coach. I was gonna coach receivers. So I'm like, okay, that's fine. So we get out there, 2 weeks goes by, and then he brings me. He's like, Trey, I want you to call the offense. So that's really how that planned out, and that's the exact timeline of just how that happened.
And I remember talking with you when you were the wide receivers coach.
Mhm.
And I remember because I came to a practice, and I think it was Pete's first or second year with the program, and I was
Mhm.
trying to talk to coaches because I was working at the radio station as an intern. And I
Mhm.
remember talking with you, and as I was going back to my car, I kind of looked back in my notes, and I was like, I just talked to probably one of the smartest kids in the NVL, and I don't even think he realizes
Mhm.
it yet, because it just seems like the way you spoke about the position and the route combinations, just different stuff that I asked you, it seemed
Mhm.
like it just came off like you didn't even think. It was just boom, boom, boom.
Mhm. And that I got to give a lot of credit to my college coaches. When I played receiver in college, it was like I was a second quarterback on the field. I always wanted to know what everybody had to do, and that was just something that I did on my own. And because of having seeing double teams all the time, they will move me around. So sometimes I'd be in a slot, sometimes I'd be outside, and depending on what route concept we were running, I would have to know every single position because I don't know where I'm going to be. So I have to know every play by concept, not just one position. So that helped me a lot. So I took that upon myself to understand all those concepts in that way.
It almost seems to me that, and everything happens for a reason. People
Mhm.
who, as far as the way they grow up, or maybe not having, you think about baseball not having the best arm, they work around it, trying to get
Mhm.
themselves the best way possible to get the most out of their talent. It
Mhm.
seems to me that maybe not having a quarterback in college made your development as a coach, and you probably didn't even realize it until what you said when you went, you took coaching classes and such
Yeah.
late in your coaching or your college career. It
Mhm.
almost seems to me that being the second quarterback and going through that helped your
Mhm.
development even more, because if you had a quarterback, maybe what you're doing now as a coach, you wouldn't be popping as quickly as you are. That's what I'm trying to get
Mhm. Yeah. No, I agree with you. And I honestly did not think about that until you just brought that up. I think that played a part because being in the huddle, if he doesn't know what he's doing, he has somebody he could rely on to know what he's doing. I when I was a senior, I was up there at Anna Maria in the summertime before the season, learning the playbook by myself. And I'm not a quarterback, just playing receiver. So I was up there by myself in the summer, took it out of my time and drove 2 hours to school to sit with Coach Cross, the OC, and learn the offense before anybody else knew it.
See that right there, taking the time. I'm telling you right now, there's a lot of college athletes that would not do that. There's a lot
Hmm.
of athletes in general that would not do that. And for you to take the time shows the staff, did show the staff, and it
Hmm.
just shows people that I'm in this. I want to be better. I want to make sure I'm as prepared as possible. I mean, look, Tom Brady sits in his room for 50 hours a week
Yeah,
and just
for
goes repeat, repeat, rewind, repeat. And he just does that. And that's why he has what, 10 rings, 7 rings, whatever it is.
exactly
You
right.
know? But going back to you as the OC, because you're so young, and with high school players, they can be, it's sometimes you got to figure out ways to kind of get them going. For
Hmm.
you, because you were, young when you first started and you're still young now, do you feel
Hmm.
like it's easier for you to connect with the players?
I can relate a little more. Sometimes they want to try and push my buttons a little bit because I'm on the younger side, like more as a buddy, as a friend. I'm like, no, I'm here to coach you. I'm here to teach you. I am young, but I know more than you think, type of thing. We go through that here and there, but as the season went on, my first year, they kind of got that. I'm not just their friend because I'm young, like I'm your coach. So it was a struggle in the beginning. It was something that I never really had a problem with. Coach P to tell you, he congratulated me on that at the end of the first year. He said he didn't know how I was gonna adapt to that, and he said I did a really good job. So that was just something that I just overcame.
And Pete's a straightforward guy. I've become friends with him over the last few years, being able to cover and just talk to him about the game and everything. And after this podcast starts to really kind of jump off, he told me, hey, I want you to have my offensive coordinator on because I don't know how long I'm going to have him. And for Pete
Hmm.
to tell me that tells me he thinks very highly of you, but also your football acumen.
Hmm. Yeah, I like everybody asks me. I give a lot of credit to Pete because everybody's not gonna let it. At the time, I was 22 years old. Come over and take over an offense and literally just give you the keys and let you do whatever you want. When we first started, he was basically like, "Here, this is you. Like I support whatever you do. I'm not going to question anything you do. I'm going to make suggestions. You don't even have to take them. But this is the keys here. Go do what you do." And he literally trusted me. So I give a lot of credit to Pete for the success, for the confidence that I have in doing what I do. I give a lot of credit to him. And the rest of the coaches, they back me up 100%. I'm the youngest guy out there, and they back me up whatever I do.
And that keychain that he gave you to all the cars. I mean, you think about you had the Ferrari and Jalen Gopi. I mean, you
Hmm.
think about Prado, Matabula. I know they're on defense, but still, I mean, Waterbury Career Academy had so much counsel. I mean, there's so
Mhm.
much talent to I can't even name all the guys, but
Mhm.
I had an opportunity to talk with a player who I work with at ShopRite, Jacob
Mhm.
Torres. I don't know if you
Mhm.
remember him,
Yep.
but he was telling me that his class, which was I think a year before this year's class, last year's
Mhm.
class, whatever you want to call it, he said that class, his class, prepared the class of last year that went 7-3 and had the best season in program history,
Mhm.
prepared them for what they dealt with this year, only because they were hard on them and they went up against them each and every week and tested them and battled them.
Mhm. Yeah, I can attest to that. There are sometimes we had clashes in practice, I would say. They were good players that graduated, and they really did test these guys that we had. Gopi, on the other hand, he was just always solid. But some of the other players that bloomed this year, this past year we had, come from the work that that class had put in. I definitely can attest to that.
One player that really, and again, I don't mean this in any disrespect because I can name every player. I think every player on Career Academy this past season improved.
Hmm.
The one that really jumped out to me was Darryl Combs. I think what he was, and I said this on the air when I was doing the Torrington career game, which you guys, that game was fantastic. My voice was shot for 2 days. That game was
Hmm.
so much fun to call. But I kept saying he has that college build. He's got the prototypical build for a tight end. He's
Hmm.
big, he's thick, he can block, he can catch. I mean, the catch that he made, I think it was in the first quarter where he went over two Torrington defenders.
Yep.
And I think you know which one I'm talking about.
Hmm.
Stretched over and brought it back. I mean, that athleticism, you can't teach that.
You can't. Yeah, that's it's something, and I was really like surprised by Darryl. That's not something I saw in his junior year. Um, Believe it or not, Darryl was my safety blanket. If I had something going on and it was third and long, or I needed a first down, his numbers being caught, and that's what happened in the Wilby game when it's fourth down and we're down, and I think we're like on a 15-yard line. I actually let's go back even further. It's third down. I call a play for Darryl. He's wide open. He drops it. Ball hits him right in his chest. He drops it. I call his number again. That's how much faith I had in him. I called his number again, and he came through and scored a touchdown. So I had a lot of faith in Darryl. He actually surprised me. I'm really happy for the kid, and I hope he makes some noise at the next level.
I think he will. I think Gopi will. I think Matabula will. I think
Hmm.
there's so much. I think this class and the past year's class at Career Academy for all sports, from what I've noticed in basketball and football, baseball, it really feels like Career Academy. Even though I understand that there may not be as many athletes, I know Pete was telling me about. What was it? I think almost the entire offense was playing defense too. I mean, you guys
Yeah.
dealt with number problems with not having enough players, and you
Hmm.
still I mean, I think you and Holy Cross were the only two Waterbury schools competing for a playoff spot.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, we deal with a lot of adversity up there at a career. Numbers, we like he told you. I'm sure he told you. We defense. We didn't run team D all year. They hit the sleds and filled their gaps, and then that was that. We didn't have enough guys to give them a decent look from a scout offense standpoint. Half the time, I'm playing scout old quarterback because I'm trying to give them the best look. We just don't have the numbers to do it. So we do what we can to try and make the best of what we got.
I mean, you guys were able to, again, and I think this is where both you, Pete, and the staff deserve so much credit because you didn't complain. You didn't go to the paper. You didn't go on Twitter and use a fake burner account like Katie does a lot.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? You said, you know what? These are the cards we're dealt. We have talent. We're going to have to manage. And I think that's what speaks to the kind of coaching staff that you guys have. You didn't, like I mentioned, complain or try to say, oh, woo, woo is us, we're going to
Hmm.
complain. No, we're going to figure something out and we're going to be able to work ourselves and have ourselves a successful season. And you guys did that.
Yeah, like I love the staff we got. Everybody puts in a lot of work, and people don't know, but we have a new guy coming in who's going to coach the O line, and Johnny Medina, who was a stud when he played at WestCon. So I'm so excited to work with him, have him work with my offensive line, and the guys we already have. So we're building on the coaching staff we have, and I just can't wait to work with them.
And I really do believe that you have an opportunity whenever that opens to be a head coach. But selfishly, I hope that you and Pete can stay at Career Academy as long as possible because I truly do believe you guys are one of the brighter coaching staffs, not just in the NVL, but in Connecticut. Because a lot of times we see, we don't see too many coaches stay for a long time because of, family, better job
Hmm.
opportunity. Trust me, I understand that. But there's nothing wrong if it's possible to be able to stay together for a long time because, as you know, you learn something each and every day.
Hmm. Well, a lot of people don't know this, but you want to know how much I like Pete?
What?
After my first coaching season, I got a call and a job offer from WPI to go up there and be an assistant coach.
No
And I
way.
turned it down to stay at Career with Pete.
Really?
That's how much I have faith in that guy.
What did you like? What was that conversation like with him? What did he say?
He really wanted me to do what was best for me. Of course, he wanted me to stay. He direly was like, "I want you to stay, but I want you to do what's best for you." And that right there just showed like, oh, he's not going to force me to stay. He wants me to do what's best for me. So let me do what's best for me. And I think what was best for me was to stay with him. We work really well together. I make suggestions for defense. He makes suggestions for offense. We sit there, we clash. We sit together, we watch film together, we do everything together. So we really do work good hand in hand.
See, now hearing that, it almost to me brings that 7-3 season this past season even more like I thought it was up here. Now it's even
Hmm.
up here because it just shows the amount of work all you guys did showed in that past season.
Hmm. We did a lot. We put a lot in the game plan. We had scouting reports every week. We would hand out to the kids. That's college level stuff. Breakdowns, who you're going to see at corner, who you're going to see at safety, the numbers of the D linemen, what coverages they're going to run, and what you're going to see. We really every week we broke down, we watched film, and we told the kids, "This is what you're going to see. This is what you're going to. This is what we're going to prepare for." And I think that helped a lot because the kids weren't going out there blind. Like they knew what was coming at them, and I think that helped us a lot.
Trey, I think you have nothing but a bright future. I hope you stay at Career Academy as long as possible. And Pete, he did not pay me to say that. I'm saying that. So I'm sure Pete's going to laugh at that one. But seriously, though, I really do believe, man, you got a bright future. However long you stay at Career Academy, you're doing a fantastic job, both you, Pete, and the rest of the staff. I really do
Thank
look
you.
forward to being able to see you guys, hopefully this season broadcasting and hopefully in future seasons because I think the Spartans, not saying they're at the Holy Cross level because they've been around a lot longer. But I think in
Hmm.
the Spartans' time, I think Waterbury Career Academy has a chance to be amongst that top. Just give
Hmm.
it time, and they have the right pieces in you and the staff.
For sure. Stick with us, people. Stick with us. We're coming.
Now, wrap things up here in the Connecticut Sports Talent Show. So until next time, stay safe. Remember, CT stands for Connecticut Talent, and I'm on a journey to find them all. Have a good one, everybody, and be safe.